Greetings, Sanibonani. Welcome to the second episode of the live wellness journey conversation series. Yay! My name is Unokuzola Chalufu. I am the human behind Planting Seeds of Wellness. And this wellness journey conversation series is basically just about having conversations with different people about their wellness journey. And wellness is such a broad term. It can encompass holistically of emotional wellness, mental wellness, spiritual wellness, social wellness, environmental wellness, so many branches on this wellness tree. And today I have Khethiwe Mbongwa, and she'll be sharing her wellness journey with us. So exciting. Bless. Let me just add her onto the conversation. Okay. Oh, another thing, if anyone has a question, there's a question mark right at the bottom there. You can just pop your question there and then we'll try answer as many questions if there are any questions. Yes. Let me just add Khethiwe. Okay, that's a filter thing.
Hello.
Hi, Katie.
How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you, Sissy?
Good, thank you. Thank you for
How's
having me.
how's your day been?
My day has been good. Just prepping for this,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, it's been lovely.
Been lovely. All the nice fields.
Yeah, happy here. Some chamomile.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Oh, so lovely to have you, and thank you so much for being part of the Wellness Journey Conversation series. And this is a safe virtual space. Yes. Thank you so much for opening yourself up.
It's always a pleasure. In the
Awesome.
It's always a pleasure.
Mm-mm. So, Katie, how would you define wellness in your own terms?
I would define wellness as a different and very broad set of activities,
Mm,
um, of beliefs, uh, of methods to achieve well-being. So whether it be speaking to a friend that adds a little wellness in your well-being cup, whether it be drinking a cup of tea, doing yoga, speaking to a therapist, it is everything. It is really the sum of all things that add to well-being.
mm, mm,
Me, a lot of my wellness has been deepening my spiritual journey, has been learning more about um, ancient religions, our culture, has been starting to work around, I think, land issues. Learning
mm-hmm.
more about um, indigenous knowledge systems. That has really helped ground me, and it's added so much depth to my well-being. And
Indigenous. Oh, I just got, sorry. You just caught me there on indigenous knowledge systems.
yes,
Whoa.
yes,
Yeah.
I delving into my indigenous knowledge systems, learning
Mm-hmm.
more about has really helped deepen my sense of self, which in turn helped um, really ground me and lead me further into the wellness journey. And overall,
Mm,
that's me understand myself better I think very important for my wellness has been starting to really take therapy seriously, and learning a lot of trauma, actively trying to heal my, inner wounded child, being very, very, yeah.
And how's the journey been? Like what, like any challenges and
Oh, it's been filled with challenges. It's been a lot of challenges. Honestly, I don't like to glorify pain in this process, but a lot of the discomfort and pain that I used to feel really got me to this to the point where I started actively trying to pursue better well-being, and I didn't know it at the time. So I don't like to glorify pain, because not all pain is it's sad to say, but not all pain is important, in the sense that pain leads you down a journey, but there is nothing sacred about suffering. And sometimes there isn't some amazing answer that you're going to get at the end of the pain. Sometimes that suffering leads you to move, and leads you to find answers to your problems. So for me, it was really just not feeling that I understood myself in the world, and I just started really going to places that I thought that would lead me closer down that path, trying to hang out with more like-minded beings. I really started to search on the internet a lot, and I found a lot of things. I started finding out things about crystal magic, and different types of herbalism, and things like that.
So you mentioned that there's nothing sacred about pain. Yes. So in a sense that it just caught me because I mean we always told that yes, in order to move through to actually find more things about yourself or actually dig more within yourself, you need to go through certain pains and then move from that pain into a space
Yeah.
where you actually overcome the pain and then just that renewal space. So I'm just trying to bridge that space between that renewal space, because that renewal space is like a rebirth. So like it's like a birth canal from pain to this rebirth, which is sacred, you know.
Mm.
So I'm trying to link that's okay. So there's that pain and then we've got that rebirth.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say there's pain, there's nothing sacred about pain, I got very interested in that notion and I wanted to just know a bit more on your
Yeah.
thoughts about that. It's so interesting.
I think that there are there are different types of pain.
Okay.
And it's not that all pain is useless, but there are certain pains that we shouldn't have to put ourselves through to get to that point. I think
Mm.
we do inflict a lot of suffering on ourselves, and it's not always on. A lot of the patterns that we keep replicating, a lot of unhealthy things that we keep doing to ourselves, especially when we become very aware of it, put you in painful situations. And that's when,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
people will say that that pain is what got them to move, and that pain is what, made them leave in an unhealthy situation. But I do not think that we should have to suffer all the time to learn something. I've also learned a lot from joy,
Yeah.
and don't really speak about that. I've learned a
Don't
lot by
highlight it as much. Yeah.
highlight. I want to speak about the joy that led me to where I am. I want to speak about the bliss, the pleasure that led me to where I am. Why are we so comfortable speaking about pain, and why are we so comfortable sharing pain and not sharing joy? And
Mm. We
I've,
get so
I've, I
scared of sharing joy.
we really
Yeah, because
do.
I feel like we find comfort in like, okay, I'm not alone in this pain, you know. And the
Mm,
more people I share my pain with, it's like we get into this room where we can actually share. I mean, it's a beautiful thing at the same time, but I mean, we should also learn to also share on our joy, on learning from joy and how joy got us to a certain space, so I really like that.
I want to share the best parts of me. I want to share the most loving parts of me. You always get the dark part, and I'm not saying that I only want that from other people, but I would like other people to share that with me too, because we are not made from exclusively pain, and we're from
Yeah,
the
that's
bad
true.
happened to us. I just can't believe that,
Mm, Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. And Katie, so what kept you on your journey? I mean, you've gone through the journey mindfully, and while you were actually mindful that you're on the journey, and also there's a point where you were actually not really mindful that, hey, I'm actually on this journey. But then when did you actually start realizing that, hey, this I like I'm feeling at home within myself. I like this journey that I'm on. This journey feels lighter. This journey feels healthier. This journey makes me feel like I can step into my power and actually, realize that my higher self. When did you? Yeah, what has kept you on the journey, and how did you start the journey?
What kept me on the journey is exactly what you said. I started to be in spaces, even more importantly within myself, that felt really, really healthy and really, really good. I started seeing more positive days than negative days. And really, I begun the process of letting go of things that no longer served me. Whether I wanted to let them go or whether they left me was a different thing, but they were gone. And I was at a point where I knew that the path that I was going down was good, because I've just always had this sense, this powerful sense of direction within myself, where I knew that if I continued down a certain path, um, I don't want to say great things, like people think it's gonna be money or something like that, but I just knew that if I continued down that path, that I was going to meet more people like me, that I was um, going to be able to get um, a deeper understanding of myself. Um, and I think what kept me on that was knowing also that I was not alone. Um, I don't think I would have been able to continue if I'd been alone. I always speak about people and friendships and spaces, because it's so incredibly important. And I think that is the answer to my question. I have done a lot of things by myself, um, and it can really feel like a thankless. I don't know. Sometimes it can feel like a thankless job, even taking care of yourself, because you can root yourself on, but it's really nice to have someone whose opinion that you highly value tell you that really amazing, just simply for yourself. So I I don't think I would have been able to make it without people around me.
That's where the social wellness comes in.
Yeah.
The importance of social wellness, because I understand with wellness we tend to focus more on the physical aspects of wellness, because that is the one that shows the imbalance quicker. So we
Yes.
kind of neglect the other areas of wellness, or just kind of like balance. We kind of, I mean, it's we human, we're still having we still realizing what makes us feel good and what doesn't make us feel good, and what we can let go of and what we can keep, and finding that there's so much learning and unlearning. So it's also just balancing out that physical wellness, mental wellness. So I especially with the social wellness, is not something we speak about so much. And I understand there's the whole self-preservation. We need to it starts here, but at the same time, the importance of community,
Yes,
that it's
absolutely.
so vital. It's just as important as our physical wellness.
It's invaluable. And definitely, I think I used to be a person who was very, very. I mean, I've always had friends, but I used to really value being alone more. And I got to a point where I'd reached ground zero, and I
Mm,
realized how lonely I really was, and how misunderstood I felt, and all these things. I think that we need people to also, we're doing this not just for ourselves but for our greater community, and that was one of the things that um, came up in the questions, that what is wellness for you in your greater community? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but do
mm.
you think wellness is important for your greater community? And I do think it's important for your greater community. You're not just doing it for yourself. You can't just be doing it for yourself. We're social beings. And I'm hoping that the journey that I'm on now can, in the long run, I'm so sorry. Can you just hold on for 1 second?
It's okay. It's all right.
I'm a bit busy here. Can you please do the other side, please? Sorry, I'm a bit busy here. Could you please? Oh, I can't hear because of the.
So if you have any questions, you can pop them in that question mark icon there.
So
Yeah.
sorry.
All right.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, like I was saying, that I think that what we're doing this for is for the greater good of our community too, in the long run. The more conscious beings we have, the healthier our community is, because I I don't think my light would mean anything if I didn't share it with others. And everything that I know, I try to share. And you want to spread that light. You want to spread the wellness. You want to spread health in communities. You want to spread, healthy living, eating, mental health, everything. You want to spread that as far as it can go. And
Mm,
important. Yeah.
And speaking on community wellness, on social wellness, basically, on how important it is not just for us, but for our community as a whole, you know, you realize that for your own personal, wellness, you need community, because I mean, that's how things have been. It's only just as we started moving more and more and more into technology, into our phones, we started connecting more with our phones and we started losing that connection with people. And now we even struggle to regain that connection, which is community, and that importance of community without feeling that loneliness. Because now I've spoken to a lot of people where they still feel lonely even when they are around people.
Mm,
You know? So that means like our social wellness is really compromised. So how do we actually heal that part? The gatherings, where we gather with an intention, where we start bringing back community, where we also not just yes, while still preserving ourselves, but not just also having that self-preservation um, line, that's it's just I'm just self-preserving myself, but also to share ourselves and our gifts and our talents, and just also be able to to just gather in a holistic way, in
mm,
a rich, nourishing way, where we don't have our phones out, and we are just also seeing how we can rebuild relationships within ourselves and around us. So I feel like the social wellness part is just as important.
yes,
Yeah.
incredibly true, and it's incredibly important. Um, that sense of self, and I mean, I don't think anyone should really really tell you what your journey needs to be, but you need people around you to see that also if the work that you're putting in is the work that needs to be done. I know that a lot of, I mean, I know that a lot of the work that I've done has only really truly been tested once I've been out and
Yeah.
socializing with people.
Oh,
Um,
that's true. Yeah.
I may
Oh,
have
definitely.
in something and then realized I still need to go back and fine tune it.
Yeah, yeah.
This is not being communicated well. This is not being expressed in the correct. And I know that can be very like difficult right now. We're in a historical time when it comes to we're already so, you know, I feel like a lot of people were already suffering from lack of intimacy in their relationships and within the greater community. And I think that like now it's obviously worse because we can't really touch. And so where do we go to hold space for each other in community? Where do we go uh, to cry? Where do we go to laugh? Where do we go to be held accountable within community? And how do we share and how do we bring closeness in through connection, you know, in this new era? So
Mm,
discussions like this and spaces like this are also really important, um,
mm,
because a lot of people, I mean, a lot of people are alone right now, and you know, as things start to open up, we still are have restrictions on the way that we can touch and communicate. Um, so I think that it's going to be a very, very difficult transition, and it has proven to be a very difficult transition.
mm. How has it been for you personally, though, the whole confinement and with regards
Uh,
to your wellness?
it's been interesting. It's so funny. I spent such a long time in my life not wanting to touch or be touched or anything. And leading up to, you know, lockdown and everything, I've been craving human touch so intensely and
Mm,
be with my family, but it's still not the same thing. Receiving a hug from a friend or, you know, something. I don't know how to describe it, but it's been very, very, it's been hard. Uh,
mm,
but at the same time, I've had, um, you know, the honest to God privilege of having a garden to be in and, you know, being able to touch grass and be outside. So,
mm,
um, it's been difficult, but it's also been truly, truly enlightening. I have nowhere to hide from myself. I have nowhere to hide from myself, is all I can say. After binge watching series and movies, which I think a lot of us did, after reading
mm,
death, after doing a lot of things to distract me from myself, it got to the point where I just could not hide from myself anymore. And
mm,
that that took me to a really, really dark place. Uh,
mm,
but then I think I came out the other side really, really being able and knowing that I can no longer ignore myself and that
mm,
with if I did not have the resources to get the kind of you know, therapy or anything that I needed, I would have to really concentrate on trying to do what I can for myself. Um,
mm.
so yeah, I see that we have a long ish.
Yeah, as much as we share ourselves and try to bring people together and be in a community, how do we protect ourselves from energies that seem to suck the good we have worked so hard on embodying and it didn't complete the same. I'm guessing it's on embodying and radiating.
Yeah, radiate energy that bring us down where we started. How do we
Mhm.
protect such? This is a fantastic question.
Mhm.
This is very, very important.
Mhm.
One of the most important things that you'll learn as a human being and not just as a spiritual being, because I don't want to alienate people who don't consider themselves spiritual beings or light beings or whatever you want to call it. One of the most important things you'll learn as a person is how to protect yourself from people and places that drain energy from you. And I think it's not enough to just leave those spaces and leave those people behind.
Yeah.
Walking in daily life can drain your energy. And once I'm still in the process of trying to learn how to do that. I don't know, Zola. I know some people will say to you that you need to carry around certain crystals that help combat that energy. And I don't know. For me, I've gotten to the point where I every day consciously self-talk and tell myself how my day is going to go, how much I'm going to give. And I've started to work with boundaries from there. And not allowing anything or anyone to cross those boundaries. It's small things. It's setting boundaries and not crossing them within yourself. It's creating spaces within your environment that feel grounding, that don't over excite your immune system, that don't make you feel anxious. It's clearing out spaces, it's clearing out the energy in your room and in your body. I think regular cleansing with sea salt or Himalayan salt, just clearing your energies constantly, clearing your body. Watching things that make you happy, that like make you feel, I don't know, it's a lot of things that can help, energy.
Because we need to protect it for our wellness as well, and also just eliminating those spaces that some of our energy will be sucked dry, and also the more, like you just mentioned, cleansing also helps with actually shielding ourselves from those unwanted energies, where we also end up not feeling like we are being drained and depleted out of our source, and also filling up on that energy as well, filling up on the good vibrations, and just stepping into our power before we even show up, before we even step out of our homes, and asking for guidance and protection, I find also has really helped me, because the moment you step out of your home, the moment you just walk out of your home, you're already opening yourself out to so many energies around you, and then by the end of the day, you come back and you're like, whew, wow, that was a lot, and that's where those baths are, the salt cleanses, and just, cleansing ourselves, and, coming back to ourselves and reclaiming back that energy, Yeah, it's so important.
I like to light a candle. I like to, yes, also ask for, protection, but I also especially like to just ask to be cleansed too. And I shower, I steam. I just want to get the outside off. So
Yeah, because we all carry our own baggages, and sometimes you just like unpacking it and
yeah.
all over, you know. Yeah. So, like, what are some of the misconceptions about wellness you'd like to express?
You have to be happy all the time. You have to be positive all the time. I don't think anyone I know I can't do that all the time. Also that you have to have a set, I don't know, like set practices that you follow all the time, and if you go out of those boundaries, you immediately get unbalanced. that also hasn't worked for me. I think also that you have to be like um you have to hold yourself accountable, but you
Yeah.
shouldn't be yourself. Uh, I think a lot of people aren't kind enough with themselves, and I think that's what I want to tell people, that mess up, and you don't have to be happy all the time. You don't have to about how namaste you're feeling all the time to be on a wellness journey and to get wellness. I think it's really just being honest, which is the most important thing.
Mm.
I think obviously obviously you have to eat a certain way, but I don't know, I think there's this prevailing picture of what wellness looks like. We all have to be healthy all the time. You have to be in nature all of the time, and I think it's important to know that you can be living in a city and you don't have, access to grass, but you can still have wellness, you know. You can still do small things that bring wellness to you. You don't have to be constantly you don't have to be this picture of serenity um to be uh on a wellness journey. So
Mm, Because it doesn't always have to look good. Like it doesn't. Not even always. It doesn't always look good.
no,
It doesn't always look. It's just part of the journey.
no,
With whatever elements or whichever aspects of wellness you are focusing on. It takes different turns all the time, and there's things you take with you, and there's things you realize that no, this is actually not working for me, because
exactly.
sometimes something that will work for someone else, is definitely like it's the total opposite for you.
Yeah.
It's not going to work for you. And it's so important that discernment of what works for me and what doesn't work for me, because sometimes you take someone else's tools and in their own toolbox, and you try and apply them in your own toolbox, and then that's just a fail. You're like,
No.
oh, but why am I still, no, that discernment that no, this is not working in my journey. That is not, it's not helping me in any way in my wellness. That's so important. And coming to that, what tools what's in your toolbox? What's in your wellness toolbox? And what have you taken, what have you kept in that toolbox, and what have you thrown out of that toolbox?
This question was so difficult for me. Because things change for me from day to day, literally. But one thing that I can say I really kept in my wellness toolbox, which I know always brings my wellness back up if I feel like I'm drained. It's definitely number one, being able to speak to people. Um, I always have a candle ready too. Bringing back light into my space really, really helps me. Um, I think color really, really helps me too. Definitely, there are certain scents that really ground me too. Um, I I always try to drink teas and have certain tinctures that also really help rebalance me. Um,
What
but
are some of the tinctures? Sorry, what are some of the tinctures that help balance you?
so I take a whole array of tinctures. But one of the really important ones right now have been black cohosh for me, and licorice root and astragalus root. Um, and basically, black cohosh is just supposed to help balance your hormones. Licorice is supposed to help you with also your hormones, but also it helps with your immune system. And
Mm-mm.
astragalus is supposed to be for anemia and
What's that?
anemia.
What's the name of Ashwanga? What did you say? I can't hear you. I think it
Ash,
just
I don't know.
it
Let me
keeps
try.
cutting, but the moment you get to the end of the name.
I'm gonna post it here. It's all
Oh,
the
okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I also
I can't see it, but
can you hear me now?
yeah, I can hear you.
Yes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I also have always have a couple of crystals lying around. Um, I really love white quartz, pink quartz, and anything that I do that keeps me grounded is an important part of my wellness for me. Um, because sometimes I can feel very out of body and I can feel very destabilized. So, um, working out, movement, dancing, yoga has been a super important part of my
Mm,
well-being.
yeah.
Um, and it's been incredible for me. It Yeah, so it varies and changes. I mean, like I said, it was a difficult question for me to answer because it's so tailored to me and what I do. Um,
Mm.
and yeah, it changes constantly. So
And I mean, the toolbox, really. I mean, it's your personal toolbox and it can change anytime. And you can also sometimes there's things that also can work, but then they also stop working at a certain time, and it's important to also release them from your toolbox. And the moment
yep.
you release them, you'll get something else that's actually meant to help you at that time.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Have you had instances like that?
Um, I've had instances where I would have to stop doing so. A lot of the things that I do to keep my wellness balanced, let me say, are a lot of physical things. I really started delving deeply into physical activity because that just really alleviates a lot of my anxiety.
Mm,
So, um, when we were allowed to start walking around, during the curfew, I was
mm.
so excited the first couple days. I went out and um, I was with my little mask and I was outside, finally outside the gates. But I would come back every day and I'd just be exhausted,
Mm.
like exhausted, depleted. And I realized that wasn't working for me. I stopped doing that. Also stopped, and what's really, really been helping me is not setting up expectations about any of the practices that I
Yeah.
do. I think that's why it's so important, so difficult for me to talk about my toolbox because when I do something, I'm hoping that it will alleviate my anxiety or make me feel more grounded. But I also do not cling onto the idea of anything leading to anything, if that makes sense to you.
No, yeah, so you don't cling to the idea of the result. You just allow it to take its course.
Exactly. I don't, it's been very, very beneficial for me not to
Mm.
hold the idea that um, I'm going to light this candle, it's going to completely clear the room out, and I'm going to feel amazing the next day when I wake up.
Well,
Because
that's
it's
so important. Setting up
pressure.
expectations for you. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. No, it makes sense.
And I'm a chronic overplanner. So allowing things to unfold the way that they're going to unfold has been such an emancipating experience for me. Um,
Mm.
and it's not to say that you shouldn't plan and that you shouldn't have um, expectations, but don't build them so high and don't stake your entire wellness around what you think is going to happen because it could go a different way and it can just leave you
Mm.
crushed.
Yes,
Um,
yes. Sometimes that can discourage you to actually even continue. And you just
ab-
go back onto your old habits, because we work so hard to overcome certain habits, because they are just it's things that we've just been doing for so long. and to actually unplug some of our habits, you know. It's so much, it's like it's a journey on its own. It's so much work, you know. And just, sometimes you will go back to a certain habits and it's okay. Like,
Hey,
it is okay. The important thing is just picking yourself up from it, because sometimes that's necessary to actually realize that, hey, can actually, I could have done that, could have done whatever this way, you know. So sometimes those moments where we find ourselves falling are actually those very moments we need to actually keep going, So I always find that it's so important. I mean, even on my journey, like, I don't know, I've been, I don't know how many times I've, like, I ask myself, am I even, what's going on? You just don't even know where you're at, what's happening, and then in that dark time and dark moments, there's like little light that comes back on. And then when that little light comes back on, we take advantage of that little light and continue and let that little light guide you.
exactly. And that goes back to what didn't work for me. It was exactly that. I was holding myself to this extremely high standard. I kept changed it, improved it. Up with my own self. I'm like, what is wrong with you? I'm serious about this thing. Nothing. You don't know. You have to like really surrender. Part of the process is literally surrender. When you don't know what to do anymore and you just sit.
Sorry.
You don't know what to do anymore and you just sit.
Mm.
And you cry and you say, I don't do anymore. It's an important part of the process. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I had to relinquish control. I had to start to let go of control. It's been very, very difficult, but surrendering and letting go of the idea that I can really hold my wellness like this and make it go a certain way, and it was.
And those small steps are so remarkable, like that tiny thing, like can be so, so, so remarkable, and being easy on ourselves and not being too hard, that's also wellness on its own, basically not being hard on yourself, contributes remarkably on our well-being, and knowing that we don't have control over everything.
And you don't have to always be busy for
Yeah.
your valid. Busyness is, even if it's on self, is not a sign that you're that at the end of it all that you're that things will come to be how you be. So
And do you have any rituals that you'd like to share? Any rituals that if you have any rituals that you'd like to share with us?
I definitely try to use the full moon and new moon energy to its greatest possibility. We recently had a full moon that passed. We've got another one coming up in a couple days on the 5th of June. So
Next week. Yeah.
yes,
That's next
yes,
week.
that's next week. And the moon will be in Libra. I think I've always had an affinity to the moon, but I've really started to take my moon practices really seriously. And I think one thing that I can give to people is, even if it doesn't have to be a long, drawn out process. You literally just have to write down your intentions and a couple of manifestations that you'd like. I always do a bath. Even if it's 5 minutes long, I like to submerge my body in water. Put in some oils, make yourself feel good and grounded. And then I just light a candle and I just connect. I thank, and I ask that the new season will bring me whatever manifestations that I've asked for, whatever gifts, whatever cleansing. It's a very, very personal practice. So I would say, like, just to give you an idea, it's just keywords like I ask the moon and, ask the earth for X, Y, and Z. And I'd like to thank, whoever it is that you believe in for X, Y, and Z. And I also wear colors that I associate with like warmth. Um,
And you did say you're a color person.
I am yellow, the yellow.
Even your space there is blue and the yellow. So beautiful. Yeah.
It is really, really great. It's very, very important. Growing up, like your favorite color was a very, very important part of who you were. It was like one of the
What's your favorite color? Do you remember your favorite color as a kid?
My favorite color has always been blue.
Ah.
Always been blue. And
What
it's
does it
gone.
mean to you? Is it like, what does it?
It grounds me. It makes me feel balanced. It makes me feel, I don't know, held by something, just protected. And now yellow has just brought a lot of warmth into my life. I
Yeah.
think it's a good contrast for the blue. Blue can be quite serious, and I see yellow as very playful and warm. So yeah, that's what I really like.
Mm, mm, mm,
Mm.
mm.
I think we've got a
Thank
couple of questions.
you.
I think we've got a couple of questions.
Where? I don't see anything.
There was one from.
Yes, I don't see anything on my side. Nothing is happening on my side. It's just, I think the screen froze
Frozen.
somehow.
Uh,
It's still the last question that
yeah,
we answered. Yeah. Is there something happening on your side?
it was from Sim. She was asking about music and
Okay.
what part.
Okay. Yeah.
So music definitely. I've always grown up around music. Uh, I
Hmm.
I played a couple instruments growing up. I've sung most of my life.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's been it's a very important part of my practice. Before I move in the morning, I have to put on the daily soundtrack or some kind of uplifting sound. When I'm sad, it's it's certain type of music. When I'm happy, it's certain type of music. I think music and sound for a lot of people is therapy. Um, and before I prepare my space to cook, to host, to go out into the big bad world, I always have to
Mm-hmm.
get hyped up and prepared for that.
Let me just put this thing here. Yeah, no, music is so vital, like I'm trying to, sorry about that, trying to charge my phone here. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so the music has always been very, very important. Um,
And
I
she asked them, what type of music do you listen to keep
um
your whole thing sane and balanced?
I listen to a lot of like lo-fi hip hop when I don't really want anything with lyrics, but I just want sound. But when you listen to music with lyrics, I listen to a lot of folk music. I listen to a lot of indie music. I listen to a lot of R&B, hip hop. It really depends what mood I'm in. Whether I
Mm-hmm.
want to relax or get hype. Um, so, but most of the time, I can't lie, it's usually lo-fi hip hop because I'm trying to relax my nervous system and I
Mm.
want um, simple tunes and beats. I I can't think off the top of my head about any specific artists.
Yeah. Because there's too many. Sometimes, it's like, who do I leave out? Who do I bring in?
But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I just a lot of the time, especially during lockdown, I want to
Mm,
just chill and stay as calm as possible. Yeah.
mm, mm. Then you mentioned something about your nervous system, just to quickly, as we approach the end of this conversation, you mentioned something about your nervous system. Does it get wired up quickly, easily? Because I know the nervous system is connected to our brain, and that's like a whole topic
Oh,
on its own, but I just wanted a little glimpse. Oh, yeah, ne, my phone.
back.
Yeah, does your nervous system get wired up quickly?
Very, very easily. I've been diagnosed with general anxiety disorder since I think I was in high school.
Mm,
Um, and I know now that my nervous system is easily rattled by sound, by too many
mm,
people speaking at the same time, to a lot of by a lot of things. It's easily triggered and it goes into frenzy. And then,
mm,
like outwardly, that really doesn't look like anything to anybody, but inside, I'm like I'm on fire. Uh,
mm,
and
mm,
like you said earlier, your nervous system. I don't know where I read it, but I read something that said that your body has three brains, which is
mm,
obviously your brain here, and then your heart is your second brain, and then
mm.
your third brain is your stomach,
Yeah.
and tied to all of that is your central nervous system.
Mm,
So
mm,
is in panic mode. That's why people usually you obviously your mind is racing, your heart starts to beat very rapidly, and sometimes your stomach can get really, really upset.
mm,
Um,
mm,
and when either of those three centers are off, your nervous system suffers too. So it's one very, very important and interlinked system.
yeah.
So I have to take care of all of them, otherwise, all of them suffer.
Mm. Okay, so we need to wrap it up now. I would have loved to speak more on the nervous system, but then we'll speak about that in our next
Yeah.
conversation.
Thank you so
Yeah. But thank
much.
you so much for opening yourself up,
Yes.
and all blessings on your journey. Keep going.
Let
Yeah.
anyone who tuned
Anything
in.
else you wanted to share quickly, like in like 2, 3 words?
Um, love yourself radically. Um, show up for yourself and be gentle to yourself when you can't show up for yourself, but always try every single day.
So important.
Show up
So
for yourself.
important.
Create boundaries and stick to them. Trust yourself. You know what is best for you. Listen to your gut feeling about a place, people, everything. Just listen to yourself. You know what's best for you.
Yeah,
Um,
boo. Yeah, boo.
taught not to ourselves not to be able to trust ourselves.
Yeah, boo.
Journey of listening to yourself, even if you don't get it right the first couple times, the 100th time,
Yeah,
you,
boo.
you know what you need.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, so important. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. And thank you everyone for watching. Thank
Yeah.
you, guys. Bless, bless.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
So,
Bye.
bye, Katie.